Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Talk Junkies, where we talk a lot of junk. When I say we had quite the storm here in the Midwest today, so Jesse will not be joining me tonight. So look forward to that next week. We'll be hitting it hard, going hard at you. It sucks not uploading twice in a week, but hey, it is what it is. I did do a podcast with Jordan last week on Call of Duty, so that isn't processing right now. The audio, Jordan didn't like to talk into the mic, but you know what? I'm just going to upload it anyways. Either way, today I'm going to talk about why, my Kansas City Chiefs fans out there, don't be mad at me, why Patrick Mahomes will not win the MVP this year. And I say that not because I want to, just because it's precisely what everyone's saying. Now, you'll say, Paul, there's 5 games left. You know, you really can't decide right now who's going to win MVP. So I hope I'm wrong. I truly do hope I'm wrong. But if you look at the past voting, which I'm going to get into a little bit here, if you look at the past voting when it comes to certain areas of a way a quarterback plays, it's not in his favor. And Drew Brees would have to mess up big time. I mean, throw a lot of picks in order for that to change. And a lot of people are talking about Drew Brees winning the MVP this year. So, and he's allegedly the front runner after the way Patrick played last week against the Rams, and he threw 6 touchdowns. So I know he had 5 turnovers, but hey, he still had 6 turnovers or 6 touchdowns. So I'm curious to know if anyone's ever done that before, thrown 6 touchdowns and had 3 interceptions and 2 fumbles. But anyways, I'm going to get into some statistics here on previous winners of the MVP award. And then after I do that, I'm going to go into a little bit of why I think it's messed up in the NFL, and maybe some things need to change. But anyways, let's look back to 2017. And if you look at the winner last year of who won the MVP last year, you're going to find out that it was Tom Brady. Tom the Man Brady. Who knows how many he has? 3, 4, or 5? Who knows? The dude's got so many awards and Super Bowl rings that he can't even count. That he can't even count them on his toes rings or his rings, hands, or his head, or his ears, or his nose, but whatever. Anyways, let's get into last year's MVP, Tom Brady. He had 4,500 passing yards, had 32 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, and he had a quarterback rating of 102.8, completion percentage at 66.3. So he was number 1 when it came to passing yards last year, and Phillip Rivers was right behind him with 4,515 yards. He had 28 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, and a 96 quarterback rating. So last year, when it came to quarterback play, Tom had pretty much every statistic minus quarterback rating and probably completion percentage. Drew Brees had 103.9 quarterback rating, so he had a little over 1 quarterback rating over Tom Brady, but Tom Brady won it over Drew Brees last year. So think about this. He had 8 interceptions. Phillip Rivers had 10. Brees had 8 as well, but he only had 23 touchdowns. So let's go to 2016. And let's see who won that year. And it was Matt Ryan. Now, Drew Brees had a fantastic year in 2016. I mean, the dude threw for 5,200 passing yards. He threw for 37 touchdowns, 15 interceptions. Key stat, 15 interceptions. He had 101.7 quarterback rating. Now, Matt Ryan, on the other hand, who won it last year, he threw for 4,900 yards. So he was pretty close to Drew Brees, almost 250 yards less. And he had 38 touchdowns, so 1 more touchdown than Drew Brees, and only 7 interceptions. So 7 interceptions. When it comes to completion percentage, you're looking at Drew Brees was 70%, Matt Ryan was virtually 70%. So they were identical. Matt Ryan had the better year. He had 8 less interceptions. So once again, key stat, 8 interceptions compared to 15. All right, let's go to 2015, where this is the year that Cam Newton won the MVP. Now, this is strange, but in a way it's not. I mean, Cam only threw for 3,800 yards, and he had 35 touchdowns, 10 picks, and he had 10 rushing touchdowns, so a total of 45 touchdowns. Cam had a really good year that year. Really, really super good year. 99.4 quarterback rating. Now, Drew Brees, once again, 4,800 passing yards, leads the league. 32 touchdowns, 11 picks, compared to Cam's 10. And so he had one more pick than Cam. And, yeah, Cam won it that year. So, I mean, the only person that would have came close to beating Cam, and it was probably Tom Brady. He had 36 touchdowns, 7 picks. So, Cam did throw 3 more interceptions than Tom Brady that year. But if this is what the NFL does, and whoever decides who wins the MVP, they say, oh, Tom's already won it a few times, so let's just give it to Cam this time. Well, that's not how it works. That's not how real life works. So if that's how they decide, then that's absolutely ridiculous. If Tom Brady's the best, most valuable player each year, then he should win the award every single year. That's just the way it should be. But either way, Cam had 45 total touchdowns, which I'm not entirely sure how many rushing touchdowns Tom had that year, but it was probably, I don't know, he didn't have any rushing touchdowns that year. He had 2 fumbles. So Cam did have him on the touchdown aspect. Let's go to 2014. So Cam was Aaron Rodgers. So Aaron Rodgers, he threw for 38 touchdowns, 5 picks. Okay? 38 touchdowns, 5 picks, 4,300 passing yards, 4,381, and 65.65% completion percentage. Now, once again, Drew Brees led the league in passing with 4,952 yards, 33 touchdowns, 17 interceptions. Roethlisberger, 32 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, 4,900 yards. So, that year, I'm sure Aaron had a few rushing touchdowns compared to Roethlisberger, but Aaron Rodgers only threw 5 picks. Roethlisberger threw 9 picks. Drew Brees threw 17 picks. Andrew Luck, he threw 16 interceptions. He had 40 touchdowns passing. Peyton Manning had 39 touchdown passes with 15 picks. But Aaron Rodgers only had 5 interceptions, okay? Now, let's go to 2013. Peyton Manning wins it this year. 55 touchdowns, only 10 interceptions. 5,400 passing yards. What a season. That's absolutely insane season. Crazy season. Drew Brees, second in passing yards with 5,100, 39 touchdowns, 12 picks. And that's really the only person that was close to him when it came to touchdowns. And Andy Dalton had 33 touchdowns, but he had 20 interceptions. So that's a record-breaking year. I mean, Peyton Manning absolutely dealt that year. Absolutely dealt. And then we go to 2012. You have Adrian Peterson, which that year statistically, Drew Brees once again led the league in passing, 5,100 yards, 43 touchdowns, 19 interceptions. So quite a few interceptions that year for Mr. Brees. 2011 was Aaron Rodgers, so he has 2. Aaron Rodgers that year threw for 45 touchdowns, 6 picks. Drew Brees, once again, 5,400 yards passing, 46 touchdowns, 14 interceptions, okay? 14 interceptions compared to the 6 that Aaron Rodgers threw. So I'm starting to see a trend here, and if you throw the least amount of picks, the more likely you are going to not, or the more likely you're going to win MVP. So 2010 was Tom Brady. He won it. And that year he had 36 touchdowns, 4 picks. Okay. He only had 3,900 passing yards. And Phillip Rivers that year, 30 touchdowns, 13 interceptions, 4,700 yards passing. Peyton Manning, 33 touchdowns. Drew Brees, 33 touchdowns. Drew Brees had 22 interceptions. Peyton Manning had 17. So, obviously, you're starting to see the trend here. If I didn't already say that. If you don't throw picks, you win MVP. I guess that's the telltale. I didn't know that until now. So, 2009 was Peyton Manning. 33 touchdowns, 16 picks. And, Matt Schaub that year, 29 and 15. Tony Romo, 26 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. So, I guess in that case, for seven more touchdowns Peyton threw than Tony, and won the MVP over Tony. So, I mean, Aaron Rodgers had 30 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. So, I mean, the NFL could be biased, too, at that point because Peyton Manning, everyone loved Peyton Manning. Everyone absolutely loved Peyton Manning. So, I don't know. Could have been that. Because he also won it in 2008, Peyton Manning. In that year, he had 27 touchdowns, 12 picks. And you had Drew Brees had 34 touchdowns, 17 picks. Kurt Warner, 30 touchdowns, 14 picks. So, I mean, Peyton that year, I mean, wasn't substantially amazing, but he won it. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't know why he won it, but he won it. And then 2007 was the year that Tom Brady went crazy. Absolutely insane crazy. He had 50 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. That's absolutely crazy. That's insane. I'm sorry, but he wins it MVP all day because of that. All day. 50 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. So short of Peyton Manning throwing a few more interceptions than other people's in the 2 years that he won it in 2008 and 9, after that you see a trend. And if you cannot see that trend, then I don't know what else to tell you. It's if you throw the least amount of interceptions, you win MVP. Now, I think if Patrick were not to throw any more interceptions, he had no more interceptions, right? He stopped with 10. And he only had 10 interceptions. And let's say he throws for 53 touchdowns and 10 picks. And Drew Brees throws for, let's say, 40 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. How does Patty not get it? How does he not get it? I think he has an insane opportunity to surpass Peyton Manning's record at 55. When we play the Raiders twice, we play the Ravens, we got the Chargers one more time. So, I don't know. It's frustrating. It's very frustrating. I mean, right now, as of right now, Patrick Mahomes, and this is the bye week, so he's dropped to third in passing. But before this week started on Thursday night, Patrick led the league with 3,600 passing yards. Obviously, he leads the league in touchdowns with 37. The only person close to him is Andrew Luck, who has 32 touchdown passes, which is close. But Patty, once again, he's had a bye week. So I don't know. I don't know what to say. 20 plus yard passes, Patty leads the league, 58. 40 plus, tied with Ben Roethlisberger with 12. Let's go 50 plus. I mean, it's not even on there, but who knows what it is. I mean, Patrick's rating is 117.9. Drew Brees is 127.3. I understand that. He's thrown 29 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He only has 3,100 passing yards. His completion percentage is 10% higher than Patrick Mahomes, but 70% still high. A lot of the years you look before the ones I just described, they didn't even have that completion percentage. It was like right around the same, 70% or lower. The dude's doing it in his second year. People forget the way that he can throw the ball, how many different angles he can throw the ball, how far he can throw the ball, how he can throw the ball on the run, how he can get out of the pocket, how he can make plays last longer. The play against San Francisco where he rolled out and then he had to roll back in kind of outside of the pocket, then roll back out again and then threw a touchdown. Then he throws the ball left-handed in a very pivotal game on Monday night against the Broncos. Yeah, we've had 2 losses this year. Yeah, he's had 7 turnovers in those games. But, yes, we've only lost each game by 3 points. One against the Patriots and one against the St. Louis Rams, both top 5 teams in football. Against Tom Brady, against Jared Goff, and against Brandon Cooks, and against Todd Gurley. We shut down Todd Gurley. It was a shootout. Yeah, Patrick had 5 turnovers, but he's going against the best defensive player this year who's also in talks for MVP in Donaldson. The dude's a wrecking machine. Whenever the Saints played the Rams, they played in New Orleans. I would have liked to see Drew Brees play at the Rams and see what happens. But that's not the case. That's not what we're talking about. What I'm talking about is Patrick Mahomes went into the road, into Gillette Stadium, and balled out. Patrick Mahomes went into the Coliseum. I think I called him St. Louis Rams. Sorry, LA Rams. He went into the Coliseum, and he balled out. 6 touchdowns. He's done that twice this year. I think there's only 3 other quarterbacks who've done that in the history of football. The dude balled out. He got tore up by Donaldson. He got tore up by Ndamukong Suh. He was consistently pressured all night, and yet still threw 6 touchdowns and lost by 3 points in the 3rd highest scoring football game the NFL has ever seen. And the highest scoring Monday Night Football the NFL has ever seen. So when it comes to most valuable player in the league right now, and you look at skill sets from Drew Brees this year and Patrick Mahomes, who do you want to watch more? Who's more exciting to watch? Who's more sexy to watch? It's Patrick Mahomes, hands down. No argument about it. There's no argument. I'm sorry, there's not. He has 8 more touchdowns passing than Drew Brees. Add on 2 rushing touchdowns to that, because that's how many rushing touchdowns Patrick has. Way more sexier to watch. I thought about this earlier. And this is what everyone, when I listen to Skip Bayless, and I listen to Colin Cowherd or whatever his name is, and he has Patrick fourth in the NFL MVP voting, or whatever he wants to call it. When I watch these guys, and when I watch them and I hear them talk, and I forget who it was. It was someone in the morning show with Stephen A. Smith and Max. And I forget the other gentleman who does it with him. But he was just like, and he was just saying, I think that Drew Brees is going to win it this year because you know what? His completion percentage and his quarterback rating, and he's only thrown 1 pick, and this was before they played Thursday night. He's like, I think that, Patrick has more. People are going to look at him whenever it comes down to voting, and they're going to look at Patrick has more years left than Drew Brees to play in football. And Drew Brees hasn't won it yet. He hasn't got one yet. He hasn't got an MVP yet. So the voters are going to look at that and say, man, it's finally time to give Drew Brees one. No. No, I'm sorry. That is not how that works. That is not how that works in any way, shape, or form. I'm almost 30 years old, and I'm a general manager at a restaurant. And you can say this for any job anywhere in America other than entertainment, national sports, the 4 major sports, okay, whatever you want to say. Any other job in America, if someone else comes and outperforms me, they will take my job. And in that sense, they are the most valuable person for our company that year. If I've been doing it for 4 or 5 years and someone comes in and they do it 10 times better than me, maybe not 10 times, but 1 to 2 times better than me, they instantly take. They will take my position. And in any other job in America, that's how that works. And I'm not saying that Patrick Mahomes is going to take Drew Brees' job. There's 32 openings in the NFL. What I'm talking about, who's the most valuable player in the NFL. And it should not be based off the fact that Drew Brees has never won this award. It shouldn't be based on that. And you have people saying that. You have people saying that on live television to millions of people and putting that ignorance in their ears. That's not how that works. Is there a case that Drew Brees should win MVP? Yes. Is there a case that Patrick Mahomes should win the MVP? Yes. But it shouldn't be based off of the fact that Drew Brees has never won it. Just that should not be a thing. Statistically, Patrick Mahomes has more touchdowns. He has more first downs than Drew Brees. His first down percentage is okay. He's sorry. I was looking at the stat line. His first down percentage, Patrick's, is 0.8% less than Drew Brees. Sorry, and Drew Brees has him in the quarterback rating, but I don't know. I've watched some Saints games. I watched all the Chiefs games, and the most exciting player, if you were to take Patrick off the Chiefs, if you were to take Drew Brees off the Saints, and you plug in Alex Smith to either of those teams, I think that the Saints would do better. I think that they would have a better team. Or you take just any quarterback in football that's not, a top 10 quarterback, and you plug them into either the Chiefs or the Saints. And these are the 2 people that we're talking about. A majority of people who we're talking about are going to win the MVP this year, and I know there are 5 games left. But if you take any quarterback, Andy Dalton or Joe Flacco, or you take Ryan Tannehill and you put them on the Saints or the Chiefs, and they play a whole season, which team does better? Think about it like that. Think about it like that. And then when you think about it like that, you understand the skill set that Patrick Mahomes brings to the table. And same with Drew Brees. For sure, same with Drew Brees. But when it comes to the team, who would have a better team and who would have a better record and who would have a better chance to go to the playoffs? It's the Saints. It's the Saints, in my opinion. So when you take that into effect, that means that Patrick Mahomes is the most valuable player when it comes to Patrick Mahomes and Drew Brees. or for that matter, in the NFL this year. And Patrick Mahomes should win the MVP, but he's not going to. That's just the way it is. And I don't know any other way to describe it. But hey, I'm going to leave you guys with that. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Saints fans, don't be mad at me. I'm not hating on Drew Brees. He's an amazing athlete. He's top 3 quarterback of all time, in my opinion, when it comes to the regular season. So this year, in my opinion, Patrick Mahomes is the better player. He's the most valuable player in football right now. He's the face of the NFL right now. I love you, Saints. I love you, New Orleans. I love you, Kansas City. I love everyone in the NFL. Thanks for listening. Hope you like it. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. Check me out for 1 to 2 videos a week when it comes to sports. I do some other stuff on the side with a friend of mine. And it's not even on the side. I do this on the side. And me and my buddy of mine do an actual 1-hour podcast on legitimate topics that are facing America right now on every Sunday that uploads Monday morning. Check us out. I'll talk to you guys later.